A Canada Provincial Medical Guide. Chapter 1. Provincial Medical Information 1. Canadian Provincial Governments. mapleleafweb.com. gov.bc.ca. alberta.ca/home. gov.sk.ca. gov.mb.ca. gov.on.ca. govi.qc.ca. gov.nf.ca. gov.ns.ca. gnb.ca. gov.pe.ca. mapleleafweb.com/features/Canada-health-system-public-and-private-participation. Provincial Medical Offices. British Columbia Department of Health. Medical SVCs. Plan of BC. 1515 Blanchard Street. POB 2000, STA. PROV. Government. Victoria, BCV 8W2Y4. 800-465-4911. 800-663-7100. 250-952-1742. 250-952-5210. 250-386-7171. 604-683-7151, Vancouver. Fax, 250-952-2964. rpb.ltrs@mo.hnet.bc.ca. hlth.gov.bc.ca. hlth.gov.bc.ca/msp. health.gov.bc.ca. gov.bc.ca/health services. Office for Seniors. First FL. 1515 Blanchard Street. Victoria, BCV 8W3C8. 250-952-1238. Fax, 250-952-1159. hlth.gov.bc.ca/seniors. Alberta Department of Health. 10025 Jasper Avenue. Edmonton, UP-T5J1S6. 780-422-1954. 780-427-1432 1452. 800-310-0000. Fax, 780-422-3552. Fax, 780-422-0102. inform@health.gov.ub.ca. cipmail@health.gov.ub.ca. health.gov.ab.ca. 727 7th Avenue. SW. Main FL. Calgary, UP-T2P0Z5. 403-297-6411. health.gov.ab.ca. inform@health.gov.ub.ca. Saskatchewan Department of Health. SK Health Registration. 3475 Albert Street. Regina, SKS4S6X6. 306-787-3013 3475. 306-787-3261. 306-787-3251. 306-933-6275, Saskatoon. 800-667-7551. 800-667-7523. 800-667-7766. Fax, 306-787-3761. Fax, 306-787-3823. health.gov.sk.ca. gov.sk.ca/health. Manitoba Department of Health. Insured Benefits Branch. Manitoba Health. POG 925. 599 Empress Street. Winnipeg, MBR 3C2T6. 204-786-6700. 7221. 204-786-7101. 800-392-1207. 877-218-0102. Fax, 204-783-2171. gov.mb.ca/health. gov.mb.ca/health/mhsip. health.gov.mb.ca. Ontario Department of Health. POG 9000. Kingston, on K7L5A9. 613-545-3811. Fax, 613-545-4399. 416-314-5518, Toronto. 800-268-1154. 800-387-5559, TTY. Infomo@gov.on.ca. gov.on.ca/health. health.gov.on.ca. Ontario Health Insurance Plan. Ministry of Health. POB 60258, STA. BRMB. Toronto, on M7Y2H1. 800-268-1154. 416-314-5518. 613-237-9100, Ottawa. Quebec Department of Health. Health Insurance Office. Régie de l'assurance maladie du Québec. Service de operations et de renseignements auxiliary assures. 1075 Saint Foy. POB 6600. Quebec City, QCG 1K7T3. 800-561-9749. 800-707-3380. 418-643-3380. 418-646-4636. 514-864-3411, Montreal. 800-561-9749. msss.gov.qc.ca. gov.qc.ca/vision/sante/sante_n.html. ramq.gov.qc.ca. New Brunswick Department of Health. POG 5100. Carleton PL, 7th FL. Fredericton, NBE 3B5G8. 888-762-8600. 888-762-8700, French. 800-442-9799, After Hours Emergency Social Service. 506-684-7901506-453-2536. 506-453-2161. Fax, 506-444-4697. Fax, 506-453-2726. Medicare@gnb.ca. gov.nb.ca/hcs. gnb.ca/hw-sm/hw/index.htm. gnb.cagnb.ca/0051. health.nb.ca. Seniors. 888-762-8600. 888-762-8700, French. 800-442-9799, After Hours Emergency Social Service. 506-453-2145. Nova Scotia Department of Health. POG 488. 1690 Hollis Street. Halifax, NSB 3J2R8. 902-424-5999. 902-424-7538. 800-565-3611. 800-387-6665. 800-563-8880. 800-670-8888, TTY/TDD. Fax, 902-424-0615. gov.ns.ca/health. gov.ns.ca/health/wait times. Medical Services Insurance. POG 500. Halifax, NSB 3J2S1. 800-563-8880. 902-468-9700. Newfoundland Department of Health. Hospital Insurance Plan. Hospital SVCs. Division. Department of Health and Community SVCs. Confederation Building, West Block. POB 8700. St. John's, NFA 1B4J6. 709-292-4010800-563-1557. 800-563-2163. 709-729-5021. 709-729-4928. Fax, 709-729-4009. gov.nl.ca/health. gov.nl.ca/mcp. Medical Care Plan. Public Services Division. Elizabeth Towers. POG 200, STA. A. St. John's, NFA 1C5J3. 800-563-1557. 709-758-1588. Fax, 709-729-4009. Prince Edward Island Department of Health. 35, Dowses Road. Montague, PECOA1R0. 800-241-6970. 902-368-5858. Fax, 902-838-2050. Health and Community SVCs. Agency. Government of Pay. POG 2000. Charlottetown, PECIA 7N8. 902-368-6130. Fax, 902-368-4969. gov.pe.ca/hss. Hospital and Medical Services Insurance. Department of Health and Social Services. POG 3000. Montague, PEC01R0. 902-368-5858. Northwest Territories Department of Health. Western NWT Health Services Administration. Department of Health and Social SVCs. Bag 9, 2nd FL. ICC Building. Inuvik, Antico 0T0. 867-979-7400. 800-661-0830. Fax, 867-979-3197. Box 1320. Yellowknife NTX1A2L9. 867-920-6173. Fax, 867-873-0266. Eastern NWT. Department of Health and Social Services. Bag 002. Rankin Inlet, Anticocago. 800-661-0833. 867-645-5002. Yukon Department of Health. Yukon Healthcare Insurance Plan. POG 2703. Whitehorse, YT 2C6. 867-667-5725. 867-667-367-3800-661-0408. Fax, 867-393-6486. hss.gov.yk.ca. Health Canada Regional Offices. British Columbia Health Canada. 405 Winch Building. 757 West Hastings Street. Vancouver, BCV 6C101. 666-2083. Fax, 604-666-2258. Alberta Health Canada. 710 Canada Place. 9700 Jasper Avenue. Edmonton, UP5J4C3. 780-495-2651. Fax, 780-495-3285. Manitoba Health Canada. 391 York Avenue. Number 425. Winnipeg, MBR3C0P4. 204-983-2508. Fax, 204-983-3972. Ontario Health Canada. 25 St. Clair Abbaye. 4th FL. Toronto, on M4T1 square meter. 416-973-4389. Fax, 416-973-1423. Quebec Health Canada. 200 Saint Foy. Quebec City, QCG1R4X6. 418-643-2673. Nova Scotia Health Canada. 702 Ralston Building. 1557 Hollis Street. Halifax, NSB 3J3V4. 902-426-2038. Fax, 902-426-3768. Prince Edward Island Health Canada. Health Information Resource Centre. 1 Rockford Street. POB 2000. Charlottetown, PEC 1A7N8. 902-368-6526. 800-241-6970. Provincial Health Ministers. The Federal Health Minister. Brooke Claxton Building, Tunney's Pasture. Postal Locator, 0906C. Ottawa, on K1A0A6. 613-957-0200. Fax, 613-952-1154. Minister_Minis@hc-sc.gc.ca. Minister of Health and Wellness. POB 1360. Station Main. Edmonton, Alberta T5J2N3. 780-427-3665. Fax, 780-415-0961. gov.ab.ca. Minister of Health Services. Government of British Columbia. STNPROV Government. Victoria, BCV 8W9 x 10 squared. 250-953-3547. Fax, 250-356-9587. leg.bc.ca. Minister of Health. Government of Saskatchewan. Number 346 Legislative Building. Regina, SKS4S0B3. 306-787-7345. Minister.he@gov.sk.ca. Minister of Health. Government of Manitoba. 302 Legislative Building. 450 Broadway. Winnipeg, MBR3C0V8. 204-945-3731. Fax, 204-945-0441. minlt@leg.gov.mb.ca. Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Government of Ontario. 80 Grosvenor Street 10th floor. Toronto, on M7A2C4. 416-327-4300. Fax, 416-326-1571. ccu.mo@ontario.ca. Ministre de la Santé et de Services Sociaux. Cabinet de la Ministre. 1075, Chemin Saint-Foy. Quebec, QCG1S2M1. 418-266-7171. Fax, 418-266-7197. Ministre at msss.gov.qc.ca. Minister of Health and Community Service. Government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Confederation Building. P.O. Box 8700. St. John's, NFLD. A1B4J6. 709-729-3124. Fax, 709-729-0121. gov.nl.ca. Minister of Health. Government of New Brunswick. Carleton Place. P.O. Box 5100, Fredericton, NB. E3B5G8. 506-457-4800. Fax, 506-453-5243. gnb.ca. Minister of Health. Department of Health. Government of Nova Scotia. P.O. Box 488, Halifax, Nova Scotia B3J2R8. 902-424-3377. Fax, 902-424-0559. healman@gov.ns.ca. Minister of Health and Wellness. Government of Prince Edward Island. Jones Building, 2nd floor. 11 Kent Street P.O. Box 2000. Charlottetown, Pay. C1A7N8. 902-368-4930. Fax, 902-368-4974. gov.pe.ca. Minister of Health and Social Services. Government of Yukon. P.O. Box 2703. Whitehorse, Yukon. Y1A2C6. 867-667-5806. Fax, 867-393-6252. gov.yk.ca. Minister of Health and Social Services. Government of the Northwest Territories. POG 1320. Yellowknife, NT. X1A2L9. 867-669-2344. Fax, 867-873-0481. gov.nt.ca. Minister of Health and Social Services. Government of Nunavut. P.O. Box 1200. Iqaluit, New X0A0H0. Phone, 867-975-5027. Fax, 867-975-5121. gov.nu.ca. Provincial Health Lines. These are health lines you call for medical advice and medical emergency advice. Alberta. 866-408-5465. British Columbia. 866-215-4700. Manitoba. 888-315-9257. New Brunswick. 800-244-8353. Newfoundland. 888-709-2929. Nova Scotia. Ontario. 866-797-0000. Prince Edward Island. Quebec. 514-934-0354. Saskatchewan. 877-800-0002. Northwest Territories. 888-255-1010. Nunavut. 26 Health Centers. Arctic Bay Health Center. 867-439-8816. Yukon. Provincial Physicians Organization / Provincial Colleges of Physicians and Surgeons. Contact these places to either get a referral to a doctor or to file a complaint against one. Federation of Medical Licensing Authorities. 2283 St. Laurent Boulevard. Ottawa, on K1G3H7. 613-738-0372. British Columbia Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of British Columbia. 1807 West 10th Avenue. Vancouver, BCV 6J2A9. 604-733-7758. Fax, 604-733-3503. Alberta Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. 900 Manulife Place. 10180 101st Street. Edmonton, UP5J4P8. 403-423-4764. Fax, 403-420-0651. Saskatchewan Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Saskatchewan. 211 4th Avenue South. Saskatoon, SKS7K1N1. 306-244-7355. Fax, 306-244-0090. Manitoba Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. 494 St. James St. Winnipeg, MBR3G3J4. 204-774-4344. Fax, 204-774-0750. Ontario Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. 80 College Street. Toronto, on M5G2 x 10 squared. 416-961-1711. Fax, 416-961-3330. Quebec Physicians Organisation. Le Collège de Médecins du Québec. 2170 Boulevard. René Levesque West. Montreal, QCH3H2T8. 514-933-4441. Fax, 514-933-1112. New Brunswick Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of New Brunswick. 1 Hampton Road. Box 628. Rothsay, NBE2E5A7. 506-849-5050. Fax, 506-849-5069. Nova Scotia Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia. 5248 Morris Street. Halifax, NSB 3J1B4. 902-422-5823. Fax, 902-422-5035. Newfoundland Physicians Organisation. Newfoundland Medical Board. 139 Water Street. St. John's, NFA1C1B2. 709-726-8546. Prince Edward Island Physicians Organisation. College of Physicians and Surgeons of Pay. 199 Grafton Street. Charlottetown, PEC 101L2. 902-566-3861. Fax, 902-566-3861. Yukon Physicians Organisation. Medical Practitioners. Government of the Yukon. Box 2703. Whitehorse, YTY1A2C6. 403-667-5811. Fax, 403-667-3609. Northwest Territories Physicians Organisation. Professional Licensing. Government of the NT. Department of Justice and Public Service. Box 1320. Yellowknife, NTX1A2L9. 867-920-8058. Fax, 867-873-0272. Chapter 2. Provincial Medical Information 2. Provincial Disability Offices. abilityonline.org. hrdc-drhc.gc.ca/isp/cpp/disabi_e.shtml, 800-277-9914, General Info plus Pension Disability Benefits. Services to Persons with Disabilities. 510 JE. Brownlee Building. 10365, 97th Street. Edmonton, UP T5J3W7. 780-427-2817. Office of Disability Issues. POG 9567, STA. PROV. Government. Victoria, BCV 8W9K1. 250-387-3813. Society for Manitobans with Disabilities. 825 Sherbrooke Street. Winnipeg, MBR 301M5. 800-282-8041. 204-786-5601. Premier's Council on the Status of Disabled Persons. 440 King Street. Number 648. Fredericton, NBE 3B5H8. 506-444-3000. Career Development Center. For Persons with Disabilities. POB 8700. 5th FL, West Block. Confederation Building. St. John's, NFA 1B4J6. 709-729-5881. Disabled Persons Commission. 2695 Dutch Village Road. Number 203. Halifax, NSB 3L4T9. 800-565-8280. 902-424-8280. Info Ability. POG 1232, STA. K. 2384 Yonge Street. Toronto, on M4P 3 × 10 to the power of 4th. 800-665-9092. 416-482-4359. Disability Issues Unit. Ministry of Citizenship, Culture and Recreation. 77 Bloor Street West. 7th FL. Toronto, on M7 at 2R9. 416-326-0199. Council of the Disabled. POG 2128. Charlottetown, PECIA 7N7. 800-653-9554. 902-892-9149. Disabled Persons Office. Office de Personnes Handicapées du Québec. 979 Ave. de Bogon. Number 400. Saint Foy, QCG 1W2L4. 888-772-3042. 418-643-1599, Quebec City. 514-873-3905, Montreal. Office of Disability Issues. 1920 Broad Street. Regina, SKS 4P3V6. 306-787-3670. Provincial Long-Term Care. Use the following phone numbers to ask for the Regional Long-Term Care Coordinator who you can get information about long-term care from. British Columbia Long-Term Care. Inquiry BC. 640-660-2421. Ask for Health Unit phone number in your area. Alberta Long-Term Care. Community Development. Seniors Division. 403-427-7876. Ask for Regional Health Authority in your area. Saskatchewan Long-Term Care. Saskatchewan Social Services. 306-766-6900. 7200. Ask for the District Health Board phone number. Manitoba Long-Term Care. Manitoba Seniors Directorate. 204-945-6565. Ask for the Health Care Authority phone number. Ontario Long-Term Care Health Info Line. Ministry of Health. 416-314-5518. Ask for the Community Care Access Center in your area. Quebec Long-Term Care Local Community Health Center. 514-725-7575. Ask for the CLSC phone number in your area. New Brunswick Long-Term Care Department of Health and Community Services. 506-453-2950. Nova Scotia Long-Term Care Office for Seniors. 800-775-8775. Ask for the Department of Community Service phone number in your area. Prince Edward Island Long-Term Care Department of Health Acute, Medical, and Continuing Care Division. 902-368-6506. Ask for the Community Care Division. Newfoundland Long-Term Care Department of Health Continuing Care Division. 709-729-3657. Yukon Long-Term Care Yukon Government Home Care Coordinator. 867-667-3607. Northwest Territories Long-Term Care Department of Health and Social Services. Residential Care. 867-873-7925. Canadian Advance Care Directives. An advance directive contains written instructions about your choices for health care or naming someone to make those choices for you. The instructions are to be used if you are too sick or otherwise unable to talk. The paper giving your health care choices may be called a living will or a durable power of attorney for health care. You do not have to have an advance directive, but if you have one, you can say yes in advance to treatment you want if you get too sick to talk to your health care provider. You can also say no in advance to treatment you don't want. Your treatment choices will depend on what is legal in your province. You can ask healthcare professionals in your province about the state's rules for living wills or durable powers of attorney. You can also contact your local Attorney General's office for this information or contact the following organizations: advancecareplanning.ca, Canadian Centre for Elder Law Studies, 604-822-0633, CCELS at bcli.org, ccells.ca, bcli.org, Representation Agreement, Resource Center, 604-408-7414, info at rarc.ca, rarc.ca, Provincial Offices for Advance Directives. An advance directive contains written instructions about your choices for health care or naming someone to make those choices for you. The instructions are to be used if you are too sick or otherwise unable to talk. The paper giving your health care choices may be called a living will or a durable power of attorney for health care. You do not have to have an advance directive, but if you have one, you can say yes in advance to treatment you want if you get too sick to talk to your health care provider. You can also say no in advance to treatment you don't want. Your treatment choices will depend on what is legal in your province. You can ask healthcare professionals in your province about the state's rules for living wills or durable powers of attorney. You can also contact your local Attorney General's office for this information or contact the following organizations: Alberta, justice.gov.ab.ca/dependent_adult/enduring_powers_of_attorney. British Columbia, bcli.org. Manitoba, Healthcare Directive, gov.mb.ca/laws/statutes. New Brunswick, 506-453-5369. Legal-info-legally.nb.ca. Newfoundland, hoa.gov.nl.ca. Nova Scotia. Medical Consent Act. Ontario. ADVO Centre Elderly.org. Prince Edward Island. Healthcare Directive. Saskatchewan. Healthcare Directive. Justice.gov.sk.ca. British Columbia Advance Directive. The People's Law School. Number 15900, House Street. Vancouver, BCV 6Z2M4. 604-331-5400. Fax, 604-331-5401. Alberta Advance Directive. The Bioethics Centre. U of Alberta. U of Alberta Hospitals. 8220 114th Street. Edmonton, UP T6G2B7. Saskatchewan Advance Directive. SK Seniors Office. Number 112. 2001, Cornwallis Street. Regina, SKS4P3X9. 306-359-9956. Manitoba Advance Directive. Manitoba Society of Seniors. 330, Portage Avenue. Number 1700. Winnipeg, MBR3B2C3. 800-561-6767. 204-942-3147. Fax, 204-943-1290. Ontario Advance Directive. Joint Centre for Bioethics. U of Toronto. 88, College Street. Toronto, on M5G1L4. 416-978-2709. Quebec Advance Directive. L'Écurateur Public du Québec. 600 Boulevard. René Levesque West. Montreal, QCH3B4W9. 800-363-9020. 514-873-4074. Fax, 514-873-4972. New Brunswick Advance Directive. Third Age Center. St. Thomas University. Fredericton, NBE3B5G3. 506-452-0547. Fax, 506-542-0526. Nova Scotia Advance Directive. Public Legal Education. Society of NS. Number 911. 6080 Yonge Street. Halifax, NSB 3K5L2. 902-454-2198. Fax, 902-455-3105. Newfoundland Advance Directive. St. John Senior Resource Center. 120 Torbay Road. Number 240. St. John's, NFA 1-2G8. 800-563-5599. 709-737-2333. Fax, 709-737-3717. Prince Edward Island Advance Directive. Community Legal Information. Association of Pay. POB 1207, Sullivan Building. Fitzroy St. Charlottetown, PEC 1-7M8. 800-240-9798. 902-892-0853. Yukon Advance Directive. Yukon Council on Aging. POB 5165. Whitehorse, YTY1A4S3. 867-668-6745. Fax, 867-668-3383. Provincial Optometry Organizations. Contact these places to either get a referral to an optometrist or to file a complaint against one. Preface your letters with Board of Optometry. ola-labs.org, Optical Laboratory Technician. Opticians.ca Opto.ca, Optometrists. British Columbia Optometry Organization. Province of BC. POB 39502, Broadmoor Po. 7940 Williams Road. Richmond, BC V7A5G9. Alberta Optometry Organization. Number 905. 11830 Kingsway Avenue. Edmonton, UP5G Ox 5. Saskatchewan Optometry Organization. POG 967. N. Battleford, SKS 9A2Z3. Manitoba Optometry Organization. 24, 1st Avenue. NA. Dauphin, MBR7N1A4. Ontario Optometry Organization. 6, Crescent Road. Toronto, on M4W1T1. Quebec Optometry Organization. 1326, Rue Sherbrooke Estate. Montreal, QCH2L1 square meter. New Brunswick Optometry Organization. POB 700. 20, Victoria Street. Shediac, NBE0A3G0. Nova Scotia Optometry Organization. POG 970. Wolfville, NS-BOP1XO. Newfoundland Optometry Organization. 30, Commonwealth Avenue. MT Pearl, NFA1N1W6. Prince Edward Island Optometry Organization. POG 906. Montague, PECOA1RO. Provincial Senior Offices. Most local communities and counties have their own particular area agencies on aging, so the wise thing to do is to contact your provincial office or look in your local phone book to find the area office closest to you, then proceed from there, asking them for general resources for seniors to help them get through life. Preface your letters with Office of Senior Affairs. Division of Aging and Seniors. Ottawa, on K101B4. 613-952-7606. Fax, 613-957-9938. Seniors at hc-sc.gc.ca. hc-sc.gc.ca. Free publications like Senior's Guide to Federal Programs and Services. British Columbia Senior Office. BC Ministry of Health. 1515 Blanchard Street. 6th FL. Victoria, BCV8W3C8. 205-952-1238. Fax, 205-952-1282. Alberta Senior Office. Alberta Community Development. Main FL, Standard Life Centre. 10405 Jasper Avenue. Edmonton, UP5J4R7. 403-427-6358. Fax, 403-422-5954. Saskatchewan Senior Office. SK Social Services. 1920 Broad Street. Regina, SKS4P3V6. 306-787-3619. Fax, 306-787-0925. Manitoba Senior Office. Manitoba Seniors Directorate. 822-155 Carleton St. Winnipeg, MBR3C3H8. 204-945-6565. Fax, 204-948-2514. Ontario Senior Office. Ministry of Citizenship, Culture and Recreation. 77, Bloor Street. 8th FL. Toronto, on M7A2R9. 416-327-2422. Fax, 416-314-7458. Quebec Senior Office. Minister of Social Services. Edifice Joffre. 1075 Chemin Saint Foy. 11th FL. Quebec, QCG1S2M1. 418-643-6386. Fax, 418-643-9024. New Brunswick Senior Office. Health and Community Services. 520 King Street. 4th FL. Fredericton, NBE 3B5G8. 506-453-2480. Fax, 506-453-2082. Nova Scotia Senior Office. 1740 Granville Street. 4th FL. Halifax, NSB 3J2Z1. 902-368-6130. Fax, 902-368-6136. Newfoundland Senior Office. gov.nl.ca. Prince Edward Island Senior Office. Health and Community SVCs. Agency. POG 2000. Charlottetown, PECIA 7N8. 902-368-6130. Fax, 902-368-6136. Chapter 3. Canadian Health Professionals. Canadian Doctors, Clinics, and Hospitals. mydoctor.ca. healthzone.ca, find a walk-in clinic, database for available doctors, practitioners, and clinics. Canadian-healthcare.org, Guide to Canadian Healthcare Facilities. CHA.ca, Canadian Healthcare Association. CMA.ca, Canadian Medical Association. Professionalreferrals.ca. findprivateclinics.ca. foc-asbc.gc.ca/tmp-pmv/travel/clinic_e.html, Travel Health Clinics across Canada. Find a doctor in Canada by province. caringforkids.cps.ca/resources/find_a_doctor. soins-nos-enfants.cps.ca/resources/find_a_doctor, French. Alberta. cpsa.ab.ca/physicians-arch/advanced search.aspx, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. British Columbia. cpsbc.ca/physician_search, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of BC. Manitoba. cpsm.mb.ca, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba. New Brunswick. cpsnb.org/webdata/drdbase_form.shtml, College of Physicians and Surgeons of New Brunswick. Newfoundland and Labrador. cpsnl.ca/default.asp, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Newfoundland and Labrador. Northwest Territories. hss.gov.nt.ca/health/feeling-hospitals-health-centers-clinics-and-units, Government of Northwest Territories. Nova Scotia. gov.ns.ca/health/physicians, Department of Health. Nunavut. hss.gov.nu.ca/n/home.aspx, Nunavut Health and Social Services. Ontario. cpso.on.ca/docsearch, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. Prince Edward Island. cpsbay.ca, College of Physicians and Surgeons of Pay. Quebec. cmq.org/fr/public/trouvermedecin.aspx, College de Médecins du Québec. Saskatchewan. health.gov.sk.ca/find-a-doctor, Government of Saskatchewan. Yukon. yukonmedicalcouncil.ca/find_doctor.html, Yukon Medical Council.